Alright YouTube, what is going on? It's ConflctNerd Callum here today, bringing you the start of a brand new series, and as you can see, we're going to be playing Project Highrise. This is a game which I have watched quite a few people play, ConflctNerd Dylan and ConflctNerd Steven. They have both had series or short series on this game, and it's something which interests me. Again, it is a management game, which I understand most of you know this, but for the people who don't, it's basically go ahead and you build a tower, and you need to go ahead and try turn a profit, and there's lots of different ways of doing that, and that is what we're going to go ahead and jump into today. So if I go ahead and select new game here, I must tell you that I've only played about an hour or two of this game. Again, as I said, I've watched a lot of this game though, so I'm not a pro at this game at all, but I do understand the basics and I do know how to go ahead and get by and make a profit. But again, any suggestions, and I want to go ahead and make the series a very, I guess, feedback based series, so anything you put down in the comments section below, which again I reply to all comments, then I am likely to go ahead and implement it. To start with as well, we're going to go ahead and have this on easy, and we're going to go with lot size standard, so this will give us a good amount of money and really means that, I can go ahead and make a loss at some stage, but overall I should be able to make quite a good profit. And then again, I might do later series with games like this, and again with like another brick in the mall, I am very much likely to go back to those games just because they're so enjoyable, plus there's lots of different ways I can go ahead and make series different based upon that. So let's go ahead and start this, and let's see what we've got to start with. So this is our high-rise building so far. As we can see here, it is very basic, it's just the one floor and there is the basement as well. I'm gonna assume that you know a few basics about this game, but I will explain some stuff as we go along. At the same time though, I am very new to this game as well, I guess, so I'm not gonna be able to tell you the insides and outs of every single little thing. Right, so the first thing is, this is our workers here, and we've got Joe and we've got Dawn, so interesting and short names there, and they're relatively happy, which is good. So I've got an idea of how I want to go ahead and set this up, so as we can see this is our lot here, and if we go ahead and jump into, I believe, city contracts, and this is really what we're going to go ahead and start to, these are sort of like long-term goals I guess you could say. So right now we've got this one here, which you can also see will be reigning in the top right hand corner. This here is city contracts, and they're basically like grants I guess you could say. So right now we're working towards this one, and this is the city's Department of Planning and Development wants to encourage small landlords to improve their buildings, reach a daily rent revenue of $1,000 to be rewarded a neighbourhood development grant. So it's given me $500 up front, which is good, and then I get an extra $500 upon completion, and I also get 10 buzz. Buzz is something which I'll come on to later on, but it is something which is very important. Then we've got status, so right now we've got no rank coming in because we've not really actually started this game properly yet, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to go ahead and pause the game. So as we can see, we've got 2 people in our building. Right now, if we jump into here, we can see this is our start of the day cash, and we're generating no revenue, but we're actually producing no operating costs, which is surprising because we've actually already got an electricity cupboard down below, and we've also got connections up as well to the ground floor as well, so not really at all sure how that works, but going forward we need to go ahead and make sure that our income is greater than our output, I guess, because we want to make money. That kind of makes sense. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is get rid of stairs. Stairs are stupid and I don't really like them in this game. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is grab elevators, and elevators is what I want to put in. So we're going to go ahead and stick an elevator there and an elevator there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to start off by building, I don't really want to build too much on this ground floor, and for those who don't understand what ground floor is, in the United Kingdom we use a different flooring and numbering system to the United States of America. I'm not really at all sure about other countries, but for playing RuneScape I definitely know this because there's been a lot of confusion with people in comments saying, oh, what's the ground floor? I don't know. Basically, we don't start with the floor you enter at. The floor on level with the ground, I guess you could say, is level 1. That is classified as level 0 or the ground floor in the British system. Whereas in America that would probably be floor 1, and then it would be floor 2 would be the second floor up. But that's actually our first floor because you start with ground floor, then you work your way up. So just make sure that you understand that because that's something which you may get a little bit confused about. The good thing is I think this game actually aligns with that system, so we're starting off here, we're going to leave the ground floor for the time being. because I want to go ahead and put food facilities in there, and also some of our basic services like a copying machine and not really at all sure what else. We'll go ahead and cross that bridge when we get to there, but I don't really want to have offices down there, that's really the bottom line. What we are going to do is we're going to start off with 1, 2, 3 floors I think, and as you can see here I'm just building small extensions to this building. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is actually get the game running so these guys will actually start to get to work, which is good. And then once all this is built, this really here is a floor piece, so this is really just, I guess, part of the outer building. I can then go ahead and fill in the inner building. So we've already spent quite a bit of money on that actually, and understandably, the floor pieces don't cost too much, but the elevators do. But you don't spend lots of money on the elevators, it's just really a one-off cost, to be fair. So that's us connected up from the basement -1 up to floor number 2, and with that done we're just going to go ahead and speed things up and get them building on that front. So the next thing I want to do is go ahead and extend things along here, because I want to make sure we leave room for our water cupboards, and we've also got our electricity cupboards. So how do utilities work in this game? Again, I'm expecting most of you to know, but basically you get here, down in the basement we'll have some transformers or some producers. So as we can see here, this here is an electricity transformer. I'm not going to put another one in right now because there's no requirements for that, but these basically go ahead and provide electricity to our building from the main system, which this yellow line going across the screen, this is the main system, and it comes into the building, comes into this transponder, and we can go ahead and add in these wiring closets, which are these things here, which allow me to go ahead and extend it up the different floors. Quite simple and a really nice, I think this is a really nice and good thing in this game. So going ahead and jumping through to water, water's got the similar thing. We'll also require phones for some kinds of offices, mainly like lawyer sort of things, more, I guess, higher tier offices, and then on top of that, cable TV, we'll require that along with gas for some apartments, and we'll get onto apartments shortly. We're going to start off with offices. So as you can see here, at the end of every single day, I believe it must be midnight right now, then we get a daily budget report, and this is it here basically telling me that yesterday we didn't make any money, understandably because we've got no tenants, but we spent quite a lot of money. We spent $1,734, and that was just going ahead and building the elevators, adding in more floor pieces, and going ahead and working on some of this electricity stuff. So right now, eventually I'm going to go ahead and what I'm thinking of doing is going ahead and adding in offices, or not even offices maybe in the central bit. I think we'll have offices to the left, and then we'll have apartments to the right, and then I've not really gone ahead and thought much about retail, because I've not actually played around with retail yet, so we need to go ahead and get ourselves to prestige 2 stars for that, and that's something which again, I'll come on to in a little bit. So let's actually go ahead and start making money first of all. So right now we're just going to need electricity, so that is fine by me. So the first thing I want to go ahead and do is we're going to jump out of here, and we're going to go ahead and jump in and add in ourselves a... what is this here? This is a small restaurant, so we'll go ahead and place this down here, and as we can see we've got someone which is quote unquote helping us out in the top right hand corner, and this person is our advisor, and she'll go ahead and help us out when we need it. At the same time, I do need some of these tips because again I'm new, but a lot of this, it's not really valid, I guess you could say. So let me go ahead and actually assign something into this restaurant, and as we can see here, basically you build an item, which is a restaurant, an office, apartment, and then you go ahead and assign it with something, if that be a lawyer, if that be a cafe, if that be whatever. So right now we've got interest here from one company, which is here, as we can see, Ellen's Wraps wants to move in. Now that is going to pay $90 of rent per day, but unfortunately the building cost is going to be $125 per day, so we're not actually going to make money on this. But the reason I'm building it is because other offices are going to require food, so that's why we need to have one of these in our building to go ahead and attract higher paying customers in our offices. That's really what I'm going for, and we require a lot of, this is really, I guess you could say, a utility if you think about it like that. I mean, it's not really a utility, but you can think about it as a utility, similar to electricity and water. It's sort of required to keep people happy, and again, satisfaction is something we'll come on to later. One thing to note here is that needs electricity line and likes high traffic areas, so those are the two conditions that are really required for this restaurant here. Now we're in a high traffic area because we're beside an elevator, and again I'll come onto this a little bit later. We're going through days at some rate. Jesus, let's slow right down by the way, because I've not done a lot of building, and that's me just wasted quite a lot of money to be fair there. But we can go ahead and worry about that in a second. So we'll require an electricity line, which we'll go ahead and do, and I've just spoke about high traffic areas. In general, on the bottom floors and near elevators, that is really your highest traffic areas, and that is just logical to be fair. So let's go ahead and take in Ellen's wraps for the time being, and that is slowly but surely going to be built. Now let's go ahead and connect up some electricity, so let's go ahead and add in some wiring right along here, and we'll go ahead and extend it along to the elevators. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-do this for the next 2 floors, just because I know what we're going to be building going forwards. Right, so the next thing we need to go ahead and do is actually get some people moving into here so we can go ahead and start to make some money. So what we're going to start off with is some basic offices. And we're just going to go ahead and place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in here. So those are slowly going to get built as well. What we can actually do is, why are you just sitting down? I want to grab some dinner, but where? Well, fortunately we're actually making something which is good, so that, I mean, it's difficult. As we can see, this person's happiness, and everyone has a happiness, and we need to go ahead and really accommodate for that, I guess you could say. Right, so someone lives but are not happy, and I think it's really Joe because he's a bit hungry, which is understandable, son. I would be a little bit... I get very... What is the word? There's actually a word for it. It's like hangry or something, which is like when you're hungry and grumpy, I think. So, as we can see, someone is in here now, so Joe, you can go ahead and get some food if you want to. So that's all these offices being built, and we can go ahead and actually start to fill these out. So right now it is 7 AM in the morning. Again, I'm going to go ahead and pause the game because I want to go ahead and get some potential offices into here to start the day. Now one big thing to note is that our currency, I guess, the profit margins only update every single day at midnight. They're not actively updating, which can be kind of frustrating because when you do some building you want to see instantly if it's going to be a success and it's going to go ahead and turn your profit, but unfortunately you have to wait to the end of the day. So this could cause a few issues going forward, and you'll start to notice them when we get further into this episode and series. Right, so let's go ahead and jump in and actually start to fill these offices, because again I want to make, and I really need to make money. We've only got $10,000 and that's really not a lot to get us started. So let's go ahead and see what we've got here. So unfortunately again we've got a similar issue to what we've had before. And this issue is that we are going to be paying rent, but the building costs are going to outweigh each other. So as you can see here, it requires an electricity line and also requires a copy service, which is something I'll need to go ahead and implement, which will be easy enough for me to do. So I'm going to go ahead and basically fill up all these offices with insurance, just because these are relatively easy and they don't really demand too much, so we can go ahead and fill all you guys in like that. Then we've still got 2 more offices which we need to go ahead and deal with. So do note the game's on pause right now, so people aren't moving in and construction's not happening, but there's a reason for that. I still need to add in the copy room, which I'll do it in a second. Right, so we've got the choice here. We've got 5 accounting offices, which are showing some interest. And as we can see here, it expects a courier service and a copy service. And again, these cost a variable amount per day, so we need to go ahead and accommodate for that. So... okay, I'm just trying to think here. So we don't really have either of those, and I would only really want to build one of those for the time being. Interestingly as well, some of these actually require a phone line, which is something which I'm not really interested in building in yet, because that is... I just want to get the basics really going first. I understand that phone line is a basic, but at the same time I want to go ahead and sort of avoid unnecessary building for the time being. Again, you guys are similar, unfortunately, which is really annoying. It's a courier service and a copy service. So what I think I'm actually going to do is go ahead and build both of those, because we're going to need them in the future anyway, so we might as well go ahead and build it. So if we come into this menu here, this is basically office services, and these go ahead and basically serve all of the offices in the building. So as we can see here, it's basically these services are desired by office space tenants. Courier services, office supply services, bottled water services, janitorial services, which is a big one actually, which I'm looking forward to getting in, copy services, and then we've got some more locked one as well, which will be unlocked when we get a higher prestige. And again, I'll talk about prestige later on in this episode or the next, because it's something we've not really come across and need to deal with yet. So let me go ahead and grab we need a copy service, so let's go ahead and stick you in this bottom floor here, I'm thinking. I think that's probably the best thing to do. We'll go ahead and I'm gonna keep that cupboard there, so unfortunately I'll stick you in there actually for the time being, so that works out fine. We'll go ahead and start playing this game as well, by the way. Then let's go ahead, and I want to go ahead and extend this out here because I want to go ahead and put my other service down on this bottom floor here for the time being. Again, a lot of this will be moved, and I'll probably rearrange the building as I get more money, but for the time being, as I do not have a lot of money, I can't really be too pickety about where I place stuff. Again, a lot of people are probably going to say, oh, this is an awful design, Callum. I'm aware that it's not the best design, and I'll go ahead and probably alter a lot of things up when we go ahead and get more money. Right, so the next thing is, we are going to go ahead and speed things up actually, because I need to wait for a lot of this building to happen. So, you two guys are not too happy, to be fair, actually. Again, there's no dinner spots. Do you serve? What do you serve? Just looking in here, so it serves breakfast and lunch. Satisfaction is good. We're gaining more regular customers, and you're only actually open between 4:30 and 6 o'clock at night. And again, it's only breakfast and lunch, which is a little bit of an issue. So I think long term we need a restaurant in here to go ahead and satisfy people for dinner. But we'll go ahead and cross that bridge when we get to it. And right now we've not got a lot unlocked, I believe, because we need 3 stars of prestige, 7 stars, 13 stars, then more requirements on top of prestige stars. So that's something which is going to take a little while to get to. Right, so while that's going on, I don't know why you guys are taking so long. Let's go ahead and move on to ×3 speed actually. Let's go ahead and extend this a little bit as well, and same here. Just means we can really get more offices into here. Right, so with that done, we can actually see people are turning up for work, which is good. So this guy here, Leroy, is going ahead and he's doing some work. He works at Vigilone and Associates. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's probably not, let's be fair. And he's relatively happy, which is good. So again, in this game, if you don't know, you basically have all your different... It's like heat maps in this game, really. It basically just tells you all the different statistics you need to know. So satisfaction, profitability, which right now it looks like only the restaurant is actually in the profit, which is understandable. Then you've got other stuff as well. Elevators is an important one. How close is someone to an elevator, and how easy is their access? As we can see here, it's relatively good at this stage, but I don't know how long it will be like that for. Right, so let's go ahead and close out of that for the time being. We'll come back to a lot of this stuff. I guess I'm just briefly introducing you to it. So we can see right now that it is quite late on, and all the building that I've asked for has been done. So let me go ahead and jump in, and let's go back in here to offices and possibly go for some legal offices. So you require a copy service, which we've got, but I want to go ahead and add in a courier service as well. So let me go ahead and jump back into here. Let's jump into office services and a courier service. So we're going to stick you in there. Again, for the time being, that's probably not the most ideal thing, because on the ground floor, I really just want to have lobbies going forward. But again, we'll go ahead and modify things as we go along. So we've got 1, 2, 3 offices, 4 offices in action. We need to go ahead and get these other offices into action. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and actually add in 2 more offices. We're going to go ahead and add an office there and there. Then what I'm going to have to do is go ahead and expand my electricity just a little bit more to accommodate these offices and that courier service room down there as well. Now with that done, we can go ahead and add in some more of these accounting offices and legal offices and get closer to making that profit. So right now, as we can see, we're going to go ahead and take this central tax service because we can go ahead and accommodate for all your needs. Then on top of that, we can go ahead and accommodate for you as well. Crosby and Ward Limited. Let's jump into here. Can we go ahead and grab you? Again, we can, and we can actually grab you as well, which is good. So we can go ahead and that works out great. That honestly works out great. Unfortunately, we can't get one of those accounting services, and I think that's due to phone lines, which we'll go ahead and cross that bridge in a second. Right, so we're making good progress. I mean, it's a little bit slow to be fair because I'm having to explain a lot of things, but this is just getting it all into my head as well here. So what I'm going to do while we update, we can see right now that we are just about to hit midnight, so we can see that we are still not gaining in too much money, or basically yesterday's revenue, we didn't actually make any. This is basically to do with, and it's not exactly it's complicated. I'll explain it more in a second, but this is basically just telling me how much I brought in and how much I didn't bring in. But it's a little bit different to that. Let me just go ahead and do some more extending. So I'm going to extend you by 3 so we can get 2 more offices in here. Actually, I'm going to extend you by 1, 2, 3, 4 so we can get quite a few more offices in here actually. So we'll be able to get 4 more offices in there all in all. And we've actually just reached a prestige. So this is a great time to go ahead and talk about the system, then we'll talk about the profits. As you can see, we're only losing $25 per day now, which is great. So you just reach a rating of 1-star prestige. This is a great step forwards in fame and glory. If you look down to your building menu, some new decorating options unlocks because of your higher prestige. Basically, the higher your prestige you have, the more higher clients you're going to go ahead and attract to your building, and the more stuff you're going to be able to go ahead and build. That's really the bottom line overall. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is profits. So, as you can see here, right now we're only losing $25 a day. The main figures you have to really pay attention to is whereabouts my mouse is right now. As you can see, the rent revenue is at $555 and the operating costs is at $580. I just want the rent revenue to be higher than the operating costs, and that is really the bottom line. We can actually go ahead and go into a little bit more detail. You can see here your very specifics, what is being spent on and where you're actually gaining money. So I know it's mainly going to be with rent we're going to be gaining money, but there are other ways. For example, services, you can actually go ahead and I believe export them and stuff like that. So again, that's much further down the line though. Right, I'm happy. I'm really happy. Looks like we've got an issue here though, and we're not getting enough power into the building. That's because this year it only provides electricity to 10 offices, and I believe right now we have 10, or I think it's just 10 units, and the demand right now is 11, so we need to go ahead and add in a little bit more to make this work. So let me jump into here, let me go ahead and add in another one. That just really adds in an extra 10, and that means now that we are down at total utilization is at 55%, so we can go ahead and allow for another 9 offices to be connected up now. That is probably a good thing because we need to go ahead and extend our electricity cables along there on those 2 floors. I think I'm going to leave this bit blank down here for the time being because I've not really got any purpose for that area. I realise that could be classified as a waste of money, yes, but at the same time, I mean, I'm not going to go ahead and build something and then delete it straight away, so I might as well just leave it blank for the time being. Right, so that should go ahead and clear up overnight, I think, because you now have electricity, which is good. So let me go ahead and speed this up and let's get into the next day and see if we can turn a profit by the end of the day. So let me go ahead and let's build some more offices really, because this is just the way to get this game started here. So let me go ahead and add in 1, 2, 3, and let you 2 guys finish Joe and Dawn, and then that should be me building 4. So I want to go ahead and get in again more clients because we might as well. So unfortunately there's no more accounting offices which can come in here for the time being. Turning my attention to legal offices, one of you guys requires a phone line, but you're actually willing to pay an extra $55 over the other offices. So that is something which I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit differently. I want to add in a floor just for phone lines, and I'll talk about the reason for that when we get round to that. The bottom line is it costs more money, and I don't want to go ahead, I really need to be conservative about my spending. So we're going to go ahead and add in you because we've already got the necessary requirements for both of these offices, so that's an extra 2 in there. We've actually got a little bit of empty room in this building as well, which is probably a good thing. So at this stage now, I want to go ahead and I want to jump into, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the yellow on all this actually. This here is building, oh okay. So you can have stuff like vending machines and a shoe shine station. Well, that's difficult to say quickly. Stuff like that will go ahead and just improve the satisfaction of our building. Then in here we've got different kinds of art, which I can hardly build any of it to be fair. I can build some stuff in a lobby which I've unlocked from my first prestige, but again, as I said, I mean, stuff like a lobby is a long way away. I just want to be making consistent profit for the time being. Alright, so I want to get to midnight actually because I want to see how close we are to making a profit, and if we're making a profit already. I've got a feeling we won't be, and we've still got to go ahead and add in a lot of different like utilities and all that sort of stuff into this building. We've hardly made a start at all. So let me jump in here, and I think we're going to have to go ahead and build in a maintenance center into this building as well. So that's going to have 2 more staff in here, so congratulations, it looks like we're actually into the profit already at plus $290 per day, which is a surprise, and we are going to be making a loss again shortly because I just need to continue to build and build and build for the time being, and then we'll go ahead and it's going to be a bit of profit, then a bit of loss and a bit of profit. That's really the way things are going to go for the time being. So that's us completed that challenge, which is great, and as you can see here, again, the daily budget summary isn't really accurate, I guess you could say. It's a little bit misleading. Right, so with that done, I want to jump in and go ahead and let's grab ourselves another contract, because we might as well. So, the city wants more people in this part of town. Increase your building population to 50. We'll go ahead and take that. That gives us $500 up front and will give us a $2,000 reward when we complete it. Then basic offices as well. What is this one about? So, the Department of Planning and Development wants to ensure that the city commercial tax base is diversified and not overly dependent on any one sector succeeding or vulnerable should it collapse. To that end, they'd like to move in a diverse group of 16 small offices. So that's quite easy to do. I think what we need to go ahead and do for this, and as we can see in the top right hand corner, just going to go ahead and slow this game down a little bit, is that, again, we got some more money for that, but right now we've got 4 offices which are insurance, so we've met that. Same with accountants, halfway there with lawyers, and we need to go ahead and add in some creative offices, and that's something which I'll do a little bit later along down the line. Alright, so that's the building population now, as we can see, up to 24, which is pretty good. So I want to go ahead and speed things up, and I want to try and get... You guys won't move in, the reason is because phone lines... Right, I'm going to go ahead and expand a little bit because I want to start building for the future here. So let me go ahead and think about how we're going to do this. So let's go ahead and add in level 4 for the time being. Up to level 4 actually, so 3 and 4. So that works out like that. Then while that's happening, let's go ahead and add in an extended elevator shaft there. I'm not going to go ahead and add in too many more offices, but I want to go ahead and try and accommodate for those phone line offices. So I'm going to go ahead and leave these 2 offices blank for the time being because I know eventually they will be filled. Right now, as we can see, building staff can't find where they need to go. It seems that you've assigned them a task on a floor that is not connected to stairs or elevator. Yes, because you should build the elevators first. Yeah, okay, that's a tiny major thing. I went ahead and laid out the whole floor first before I built the elevators. Is that a big deal? Like, no, not really. So going back to the phone line thing actually, I want to go ahead and save money as I said. So if we jump back in here to utilities, we can see that we're going to go ahead and add in a phone switchboard, and this is really required, and we're sticking this in the basement again. This is required to go ahead and allow phone lines to come into your building. So what happens here is phone lines come up this closet here. Again, this is a wiring closet, so everything to do with wires, which funnily enough is electrical, phones, and your TV as well, your TV cable, they travel through here. So what I want to do, instead of, say for example, filling in one of these offices all the way over here, which would require a phone, I want to go ahead and not have, because I would require to go ahead and build a phone wire right across all these offices, which that's a waste of money, because a lot of these offices are never going to use phone lines. But if we go ahead and add it in and have like a phone specific floor, then that would work out, and that would mean that I'm not really wasting too much money, and that's really what I'm going to do. So we're going to go ahead and add in wiring closets into these 2 floors. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a phone line onto this floor and this floor only, so this is level 3 I think all in all. That's really good actually in terms of daily summary, but overall per day we're actually losing more money now, so I think that's probably because of the phone lines which we've recently introduced. So let me go ahead and jump into electricity, and let's go ahead and build along there as well. So that is now connected up, and we'll go ahead and add in the top floor very shortly. One thing I want to go ahead and do is start to advertise actually. So we can go ahead and place an ad for $50. That'll be response time 2 hours, and that'll mean we can hopefully get some more tenants into those 2 offices for the morning. I do like to go ahead and fill out my building, and again we're trying to get up to 50 people as a population overall. Right, so with that done, we can go ahead and add in some more offices in here, and then we're going to go ahead and add in those offices which basically require phone lines. So we can go ahead and jump into here. We're not meeting that one because they require more food, so we're actually going to go ahead and decline you for the time being. Now these two require phone lines, which is great, so the building cost is $125, but they are giving us a lot more rents. Like so far I think the highest rent is maybe $110 per day, but we can see here that we are getting a lot more, 165 and 155. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome you two guys into here, and that works out nicely, and that will hopefully go ahead and help us turn a little bit more profit. So that's connected up now. The next thing I want to do is actually, wait, let me go ahead, I'm just checking something here. So creative offices, so needs a greater variety of cafes before we can go ahead and add in creative offices. So that is something I'll very quickly do. So adding those two in, I think they're both lawyers, or one of them is a lawyer, so we still need to add in another lawyer room, but I think we need to go ahead and add in a cafe to go ahead and add in some creative offices. So let me jump into food, and as we can see here, we have now, or let's go ahead and build it first. I'm assuming we can go ahead and add in a cafe. So now we have prestige of 1 star, we have more options, so we don't just have a food court, we have a cafe as well, which is good. So I'm going to go ahead and take in a cafe. Now, unfortunately you require water, and this is something which is going to be happening shortly anyway, so it's not really that a big deal, but it's just, I mean it kind of is, it is a little bit frustrating. So what I want to do here is, I want to go ahead and get the most money I can, so we're going to go ahead and take this bottom one here, and that's going to flip us $10 profit per day, which doesn't sound like a lot, and to be honest it's not, but when all these individual offices add up like this, that's where you get your money from. So we'll go ahead and build you in there. The next thing I need to go ahead and do is we need to go ahead and get water piping in here. So what I'm going to do is add in an extra floor space right along the side here, and then also more along the bottom, because we're going to go ahead and add in our water system very shortly. So with that built, we're going to go ahead and add in our water closet. Our water closet's going to be on this side. And when you're underground, you don't really have to do any, or at least on floor -1 anyway, you don't have to do any underground wiring. It's only wiring and pipes above ground, which is good. So you save a little bit of money. So it doesn't really matter, essentially, where you go ahead and place your transformers or your meters, whatever they are. It doesn't really matter where you place them along the bottom floor. As long as you have them in here somewhere, then it'll work fine. So as you can see there, I placed that there, but now we've got a whole water pipe going along this whole -1 floor. Right, so with that built, I want to go ahead and jump in and add in a plumbing closet. We're going to go ahead and add them. We actually don't really need to go ahead and add a second one into there, but it's built now. But this will allow us to go ahead and add in a water pipe, which will stretch along here into the cafe, and that means the cafe will now have water, and that is another one of its needs dealt with. So as we can see, we're actually up to 4 lawyers, so those 2 new offices must be lawyers as well, which is good to see. Now we're slowly but surely running out of money, which is not a good thing, so I'm hoping to turn a profit again shortly. So with that done, we just need to go ahead and wait for that to get built. What I am going to do now though is go ahead and add in a few more offices. So I want to add an office there, an office there, an office there, and what I'm going to have to do, unfortunately, do you guys require phone though? That is something which I might have gone ahead and fucked up on, I'm not gonna lie. Creative offices, you guys all require phones. It's not a bad thing. I mean, these offices will get filled eventually, but I can go ahead and just have you on the phone only floor. So let's go ahead and build along there, and we're gonna go ahead and speed things up, because this is gonna take our builders quite a while to go ahead and build all of this. Alright, so while that's happening, we actually have a complaint here that our cafe is not connected up to electricity. So if we go ahead and do that, that is that dealt with. Just a very small thing, but these things can go ahead and make people very mad. And if you don't go ahead and deal with customer satisfaction, then people will move out. And again, you're just going to lose customers. It's basically like just a retail shop, I guess. If you don't satisfy customers, they'll go other places. And that's really what it's like. They'll just go ahead and find a different building. Right, so we are just about at midday right now, and as we can see, our builders are doing relatively well. So I'm going to go ahead and add in more offices along here for the time being. And if you guys can hurry up and just finish that small section there, I can go ahead and... Come on guys, I'm making a video here. Guys. Right, we could just go ahead and do that, to be fair. You guys took so long on that, I really don't know why. Anyway, so we require 4 creative offices to go ahead and complete this basic office task, and as we can see, we've got 4 empty offices on this floor. That's great, isn't it? Yes, it is. So let me jump very quickly into utilities here. Let me go ahead and grab ourselves electrical cables and let me extend that along there. Then let me go ahead and do the same for phone cables basically, so that works out nicely. So that means all these offices on this floor have phone and they also have electricity. I'm just making sure that we're not running out of electricity, that we don't, I think we're good. Right now we're at 80% utilization, so getting close again. We might need to go ahead and add in another, what are these, transformers very, very shortly. Right, so let me go ahead and add in 5 or at least 4 creative offices. So again, you guys pay much more, but you also, I guess that it costs the building more money, so it costs them 150, or our building 150, but we can go ahead and charge $155, so we do make a small profit. Now there is one problem. You guys expect office supply store, which we can go ahead and build relatively easy. So let me go ahead and just fill some of these offices in. So let's go ahead and fill in you. Let's jump down to here. Let's take you as well. Let's jump into here and let's take... Yep, yeah, it looks like most of you guys are the same. Actually, to be fair, you're not. So the 2 we've got left, you guys are not willing to pay $155. So we're actually going to make a loss on one of you, which I don't mind doing for the time being, but you might be evicted at a later stage. Right, so we're just about done basic offices, and that should be, as soon as these are built, then people will move in, and that'll be that task complete. Our population should rise to above 50. The final thing I want to go ahead and do this episode is inquire about adding in office supplies. So, office supply service, that costs $300, which is quite a lot. And the worst thing is as well, is that it requires a space of 4, and that's something which I currently do not have, which is a little bit frustrating. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to extend the building out this way a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and build it down this bottom bit here. I think that's probably for the best. Then I'm just trying to think how I want to do this. So we've got cupboards. Oh no, I don't like this. I don't like how I've done this. I really don't. It's just a layout, that's the problem unfortunately. I could have done this much better. I could have grouped the 2 cafes together and then I could have put 1, 2, 3... No, that wouldn't have worked either. It's numbers. I'm going to have some odd gaps, which is something I don't like. So let me go ahead and speed this up anyway for the time being. Then while those offices get built, which is good, we can go ahead and possibly get more people into here. So recently we did some more advertising for insurance, and as we can see here, we're going to go ahead and basically fill in some of these offices. So we'll go ahead and fill in these 2 offices with the best people, and that works out nicely. So as we can see, those 4 offices have been built and we've completed our basic offices rewards, and we also get $1,000 for that as well, which is good because we're struggling to make money right now, if I'm totally honest. So you guys aren't going to be happy though. I don't think you're turning up for work today because you only work from 9 till 5 and it's past 5 o'clock, but you are not really going to be too happy because you require a office supply store, which you're sort of like, it's what kind of face is that? A very blank face. I'm not really at all sure the emoji term, I guess you could say. But, all in all, they're not going to be as happy as they could be if we don't have that. So, the final thing I'm going to go ahead and do is add that in. We're going to see our daily profits, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. So, you 2 guys are still working on the 2 offices over here. If you could hurry up. Yeah, that complaint's back as well. That's not good. We'll have to very quickly add in an extra bit in there as well. So, you guys can jump downstairs. Go ahead and do that. Let me slow things down let me pause things actually very quickly. Let's go ahead and add in an extra transformer. Understandably, I probably should go ahead and add in a larger transformer to go ahead and deal with all this issues there. Yeah, I think that's what we might do. So do I or don't I? Do I or don't I? Do I or don't I? You know what, we're just going to go with a smaller one for the time being just because we're tight on money, but if we need to go ahead and add in another one, I'll go ahead and delete the smaller ones and add in one of these larger ones. Right, final thing we're doing is jumping back into here, adding in an office supply store, which I need an extra tile. So what I'll do, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm going to go ahead and add that in for the next episode. As we can see, there's a little bit of complaint here about the electricity, but that should be sorted out by tomorrow. So as we can see, thankfully, to wrap up this episode, we've spent a lot of money today. We've also gained in a not too bad amount of money today, but overall we're actually making a daily profit as long as we don't spend too much more money. We are going to have to go ahead and add in that supply office though, which is going to cost me $300 a day, but we're going to make some more money in between today and tomorrow, and going forward we'll make like what, $145 the time we add that in. So we're off to a good start, which is good, and I'm going to continue this on into the next episodes. Again, if you've got any suggestions or ideas for this series, please go ahead and leave them down below, because as you can see our lot is quite thin to be fair, but we can definitely go up quite a bit, and I'm looking forward to that. So hope you have enjoyed this episode. Please leave a like, rate and subscribe if you are new around here. Go ahead and share this with a friend or someone to go ahead and raise the awareness of the series, and I'll catch you in the next one. So thank you very much for watching. My name is ConflctNerd Callum, and I'm out.